In a quiet village, nestled among rolling hills, lived a woman named Amina. Her spirit was as gentle as a morning breeze, and her kindness was known to all. Years had passed since her husband's journey to the next life, leaving her with their young son, Yusuf, and a house filled with memories. Life was a constant struggle. Each day, Amina would sit by her window, her needle dancing through fabric, sewing clothes for the villagers. The few coins she earned were just enough to put food on their small table, but never enough to chase away the shadow of uncertainty. One evening, the sky turned a menacing shade of gray. A storm, unlike any they had seen before, descended upon the village. The wind screamed like a banshee, and the rain fell in relentless sheets, turning the dusty streets into muddy rivers. Thunder cracked overhead, shaking the very foundations of their humble home. Inside, chaos began to unfold. Water started dripping through the thatched roof, first in small drops, then in steady streams. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through a crack in the wall, and their only lamp flickered and died, plunging them into absolute darkness. Yusuf, startled by the sudden blackness and the roar of the storm, began to cry. His small sobs were almost lost in the symphony of the tempest. Amina pulled him close, her arms a shield against the fear that gripped him. "She, my dear," she whispered, her voice a soft anchor in the storm. "Don't be afraid, my son. It's just the wind and the rain." But Yusuf's voice trembled as he replied, "But Mama, it's so dark. I can't see anything." Amina reached for the small box of matches she kept on a high shelf. Her fingers, though trembling slightly, were steady. She struck a match. The tiny spark flared to life, a fragile defiance against the overwhelming darkness. She carefully lit a small, worn-out candle. Its flame was weak, flickering and dancing as if it might give up at any moment, but it held on. The small circle of light it cast was enough to push back the suffocating blackness, revealing the familiar outlines of their small room. Amina turned to Yusuf, a gentle smile gracing her lips. The candlelight softened her weary features, making her look serene. "See, Yusuf," she said, her voice filled with a quiet strength. "Even one small candle can fight the dark. It doesn't need to be a blazing fire. Just a single steady flame is enough to show us the way. It's just like a believer's faith. Even a little bit of iman can fight the deepest despair." Yusuf fell silent, his eyes fixed on the tiny brave flame. He watched as his mother, with the calmness of a tranquil sea, picked up her sewing once more. Her needle and thread moved with practiced grace, catching the faint light of the candle. Stitch by stitch, she worked, her movements a quiet prayer, a testament to her unwavering trust. Outside, the storm raged on for what felt like an eternity. Thunder boomed, lightning tore across the sky, and the rain hammered against their roof. But inside that little house, a different kind of light glowed, the steady, warm light of faith. When morning finally broke, it was as if the world had been washed clean. The storm was gone. A brilliant sun rose, its golden rays pouring through the window, filling the room with light and warmth. They had made it. Their little house, though battered, had survived, and more importantly, so had their hope. The ordeal had passed, leaving behind not just a damp home, but a strengthened spirit. Later that evening, as the village began to dry and recover, there was a knock on Amina's door. It was a neighbor, her face etched with worry, holding a dress that had been torn by a fallen branch. "Amina," she said, her voice heavy, "I know you have your own troubles, but can you fix this for me? It's the only good dress I have." Amina welcomed her in without a moment's hesitation. As she began her meticulous stitching, her fingers moving with a familiar rhythm, the neighbor watched her, a look of admiration in her eyes. "I don't know how you do it, Amina," the neighbor confessed. "You've always been so patient, so calm. Even when you had nothing, you acted as if you had everything." Amina looked up from her work, her smile as warm as the morning sun. "That's because when you have iman," she replied softly, "you never truly have nothing. Faith is the greatest wealth. It's the quiet whisper that reminds you that Allah is always with you in the gentle sunshine, and especially in the darkest storms. He is the one who provides the candle when all other lights go out. The neighbor left not just with a mended dress, but with a mended heart. Amina's words, born from her own struggles and her unshakable trust, were like seeds of hope. That single act of patience, that simple sharing of faith, began to ripple through the community. Soon, Amina's little home became more than just a place for sewing. It became a sanctuary. People came not just for mended clothes, but for comfort in their sorrow, for advice in their confusion, and for a small share of the powerful faith that burns so brightly within her. This story reminds us that even the smallest act of faith, like a single candle in a storm, has the power to bring light to the darkest of times. Never, ever underestimate the power of your Iman when you are facing your own storms. It is your anchor, your light, and your greatest strength. If you believe that faith can truly change everything, let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and may your faith always be your guiding light. Please subscribe for more stories that touch the heart and awaken the soul. Peace be with you.